Hello and welcome to Aha Moments. This one is entitled Words to Live By. And this is based on a Aha Moment Monday that was originally released on June 19th. So welcome. We're going to go through that Aha and then we're going to unpack it a little bit. I have a couple other resources to share with you. And, when was the last time you had an Aha Moment? When was the last time something just hit you that it might have just been something kind of subtle, or it might have been a real huge flash of brilliance that came across and really made you pivot? But that's what Aha Moments are all about, right? We need to be encouraging some disruption in our lives and paying attention to things that will move us in new direction so that we don't stay complacent, right? You can get Aha Moment Mondays in your inbox every Monday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern just by subscribing to jrang.com. So hop on there and subscribe and get the Aha. So let's go through it. I'm going to read the Aha to you that was released, and then we will go through. Let me just find it here. And we'll go through a couple other ideas as to, I'm going to share some examples on the Aha and start to think of some examples that relate to you too, on words to live by. Okay, here we go. Many of my friends have hidden talents. They don't lead with their talents. In other words, many are business owners or leaders, so their focus is often on their day job and of course their family. However, when we're together or they release a glimpse of themselves online, I see their hidden talents. One such friend, Huguette, loves to paint. I've always known Huguette as an industry leader and witnessed her creativity in program development, but never knew she was an artist with a brush. She's very good, and I can tell she just loves to paint. Huguette's most recent work was an abstract watercolor, my favorite, of colorful flowers. I responded to her post that it looked like Mardi Gras. I'm not sure where that came from, but she accepted the compliment in her response. I elaborated that Mardi Gras was the theme of the colors, as well as the ways in which the flowers appeared to be dancing, but not haphazardly. They were coordinated in their effort, like they had history or roots, and each was expressive inside that unison. You see, I was determined to make sense of the Mardi Gras comment, both for me and her, and allowed the words to flow to describe the energy I was receiving from the painting. It's not easy, though, because we feel first. Our bodies receive signals, often in layered ways, then our minds take time to formulate the words. That's why body language experts are so good at reading the truth, because our body reacts first, without thought. So if our body is a perfect lie detector, do we listen when it tells us that we are on track or not? Can we tune into feeling good as a habit? Aha, use words of joy. My friend Sandrine is a pilot with a flight school, a partner in an organizational business, a singer, and who surprised me with her piano playing skills when she visited, also offers sage advice. One such nugget last year was this: do what brings you joy. That sounded so simple, perhaps to you too. So I argued with my to-do list in hand, using words like struggle, frustrating, overwhelming, and dismissing joy amongst what felt like a struggle. It was clear I was more focused on being responsible to others than myself. Sandrine and I are accountability partners of sorts when it comes to mirroring back words that make up the story we tell ourselves. She reminded me, like I often do with her, that the universe and our body is hearing the words we use to create vibes, circumstances, and outcomes. So I asked myself, why not live enjoyment as a way of life? What would that take? I peeled off some self-sabotaging layers, worked on the reprogramming, rewrote the words, and am full steam ahead to live more fully in my element. It feels good. That's the aha. Now, just as I was getting ready to record, I saw a couple of comments that came up on Facebook, and I wanted to check them quickly. And in one of our groups, the self-sabotage group, I actually posted this because somebody had put it up, and I thought it was just so perfect. It was a quote from Bruce Lee, and it said, "Don't speak negatively about yourself, even as a joke. Your body doesn't know the difference. Words are energy and cast spells. That's why they call it spelling. Change the way you speak about yourself, and you can change your life. What you're not changing, you're also choosing." Oh my gosh, I think I'm going to print that out because it is so good and so powerful. So it's all about the words. So I talk about my friend's talents and I talk about, our exchange and everything, but it really is about when in Sandrine and all of her talents, she came and talked to me about just being an enjoyment. What do you love to do? What makes you feel good? And to-do list in hand and feeling, victimized and overwhelmed and using all those kinds of words, which I was kind of hanging on to, those were making my story for a while. That it became quite clear that the energy that I was attracting from those words was creating that spell. And there's the block. So I want to be clear about something, is I say this to people when they ask about aha moments or they comment, because I do get wonderful comments every week from different people. I'm always talking to myself first, whatever it is that's going on that I happen to notice, whether I'm interfacing with people or an experience that I have when I'm out, something that I picked up and read, something that, I've, eavesdropped on a conversation, something that has hit me in a way that reminded me that, I need to shift in some way. That's what I write about. And most of the times I'm throwing myself under the bus first. So I was recognizing for a long time that when people were asking, how are things, what's going on? I do have a lot going on right now. That's kind of my life. Everybody knows that's always been me. I love to build and I love to create. And so I've always got, things. If I don't have stuff going on, then I don't feel like I'm contributing to society or contributing to humanity. I am not a status quo person. That's just not who I am. So there's always lots of things going on. However, the words I was using were the ones I said earlier: frustrating, overwhelmed, victimized. All of those words were coming up, and I was, talking to some of my friends and putting out notices and everything. There is a lot going on in my life and everything is changing. And one of my friends said, what about the word different? What if we use the word different? And so things are just different. And so looking sometimes for those neutral words until you can find the positive words. We know that on our planet that everything has an opposite. So, we have male and female, we have up and down, we have left and right, we have in and out, we have black and white. Everything has an opposite. Love and fear. It's not love and hate, by the way, it's love and fear. Those are opposite. Everything has an opposite. So every circumstance that you look at will always have an opposite to it, whether it's a vibration, a perspective, an outlook, an intention. There will always be an opposite. And two people can walk into the same circumstance and one will see it as glass half full and the other will see it as glass half empty. And it's the words that they use that will frame it. So going through this process that I'm going through with lots of transition. And I have to admit, because I am challenging myself in many ways, and there are so many elements of what is happening right now that are different, and they will continue to be different as I continue to shift, it has brought up a lot of discomfort and absolutely fear. So some of the words I was using were representative of that, and catching myself over and over and over again and saying to myself, better. You know better, that words are energy, and that you're casting a spell over yourself with those words. But for some reason, they still seem to be the identifying words I was using to frame my story. Catching that is just so crucial. So it's not that I'm going to, and I'm saying this, you can take the page from my book. It's not that I'm going to try and lie to myself, because the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, the unconscious mind doesn't know the difference between real and fake. Whatever is going on in your mind with emotion, whatever that vision is that's playing out in your mind, or whatever that sensation you have that your mind believes to be true, is absolutely true. The mind doesn't know the difference, but your conscious mind does. So, if you contradict a situation or a story in the conscious mind, and I'm saying right now that I am feeling overwhelmed, or that there's a lot going on, and it's challenging, all the words that I was using, and I'm looking at that situation. If I start to say, oh, this is easy, and I'm in control, whatever, if I'm not feeling that way, then there's a contradiction there, right? With the conscious mind. The conscious mind is going to argue it a little bit. It's going to know that you're trying to tell it a story. So it's important to have that perspective of saying, okay, I'm going to look at this situation. And right now, yes, there's a lot of moving parts, and I have to admit that some of them, are a little bit frustrating. But how can I reframe that in a way of partly tactically, chunk things down, make lists, ask for help, like all the things that you can do. And also adding things like meditation, nature, going for walks, sunshine. Those are all things that I've been doing. Doesn't matter how busy I am, I will still get outside a few times a day when the sun is out and just bask in it. Sometimes I'll put in my earphones and I will listen to, some kind of meditation or affirmations or something like that, just to kind of calm me down and center me. And bombs can be growing off, and it doesn't matter. I will take that time to do it. It is catching those words, though. The words are just really important. So taking the time to look at a situation and not contradicting yourself, but saying, reminding yourself that in every situation, there's always opportunity. So you can be excited about something, or you could be devastated about something. And every, as I said, two people in the same circumstance can see it two different ways. So choosing those words carefully is absolutely vital. And we say always that words are energy. I loved how in that Bruce Lee quote that he said, that's why they call it spelling, because words do create that spell. And so, start to pay attention in society when you're looking at, let's say, you're going to court and you say, okay, why is it called a court? Start to pay attention to the words that they use. Start to pay attention to, whether it's school, whether it's the media, whatever it is that you're reading or whatever it is doing, be aware of the words and even the root of the words. Where did they come from? So I was listening to Cliff High the other day, and he was saying about solstice, the word solstice, and he says that the root of the word is still. And so I didn't check that up to verify, but he said the word is still. And of course, in both the summer and the winter solstice is when the sun stays in the same place, in the same position for 3 days in a row. It apparently does not have any movement. And so, and of course, solstice means still, right? So start to look for those words and the words that you're using to describe yourself. I think it's chapter 5 in 50 Simple Ways to Release the Shackles of Self-Sabotage, the new book coming out August. I think it's a 13th or 14th. So, we'll get you on the list pretty soon to get your advanced copy. But I think it's chapter 5 that we talk about self-talk, and I give a few more examples on there. So very, very important. So again, talking to myself first, I catch myself, many times when I am feeling a little bit low, and somebody says, how are you doing? And it's like, the truth wants to just blurt right out. And it's like, then I catch myself and go, what is the truth? What is the truth? I may be feeling a little bit tired today, but I probably, with the guidance of the universe, I probably am very much in control. And reminding yourself that, as I remind myself, is that everything that I need for my higher good is on its way to me. The people, the circumstances. And if I'm using debilitating words, I am setting up a wall. I am absolutely repelling that good. So allowing myself, yourself, to use the words that at least open the dam, right, for the flood of goodness to come in. So important what we tell. So, that Bruce Lee quote, and he said, even when you're joking, and I have to admit, it took me a long time to learn to laugh at myself, and now I can laugh at myself, but I am careful still at the words that I use to describe. I'll have some fun with myself, but not to the point of demoralizing. And we can, that's a nice way to fit in, is to do that. If you people kind of, it makes people feel a little superior when you can kind of downplay yourself. So we have to be careful that that ego doesn't play a part one way or the other, either to boast or to reduce ourselves, right? And the words that we use can absolutely do that. So anyway, wonderful to have the time with you today, and I look forward to our next video next week. In the meantime, as always, succeed deliberately.